The world of college athletics is huge, with an estimated 460,000 athletes in the NCAA. And while getting a scholarship to play the game you love seems like good, when you get to school, things become a little bit different. There's been a long-lasting argument as to whether NCAA athletes should be paid or not. But when you look past the fact that it's just kids playing sports, you can see that the NCAA is one of the biggest booming businesses in the United States. According to John Brill of the Shirley Povich Center for Journalism, in 2005, a draft-ready football player is worth $495,000, and a draft-ready basketball player is worth over $1.4 million, respectively. So, why do you care if an athlete gets paid or not? Well, you may know somebody that's an athlete that's struggling financially while playing sports. Not being able to get to work is financially hard, and getting paid for their hard work could help benefit themselves or their families. In this speech, I hope to persuade your thinking on whether or not college athletes deserve to be paid. I plan on doing this by talking to you about the amount of money they bring in, the extreme financial need that they have, and the fact that it may even be illegal to not pay them. The first, and I believe most important reason that they deserve to be paid is the amount of money they bring in for their universities and for the NCAA. Events such as March Madness, college bowls, and the new college football playoffs bring in massive amounts of money on their own. B. Goldman explained, last year's NCAA basketball tournament generated over $70 million, Goldman won. He later states Final Four participants received direct payments over $1.3 million, and merely making the tournament received schools $275,000, Goldman won. Coaches who wouldn't even have a job if not for the athletes get paid way too much. John Brill argues coaches' salaries are receiving multi-million-dollar salaries in the new NCAA system. University of Texas head football coach Max Brown's salary totals over $5 million. In comparison, scholarships for the entire football team just totaled over $3 million, Brill 7. So you can see that athletes bring in a lot of money for their schools, and if the coaches get paid for this, why shouldn't the athletes? Athletes spend more time than a full-time job every week at practices, workouts, meetings, let alone the fact that they have to go to class and maintain a good GPA. To maintain scholarships, athletes must put in a lot of time into their school and sports, leaving no time for a job. Dave Anderson wrote, if a student has 10 hours of class and puts in the recommended 4 hours of study for each hour of the class, the athletes spend 50 hours each week. This means that the athletes have to work 90 hours per week just to remain in school. Blitzland.com. This is the equivalent of working 2 full-time jobs and a little bit on the weekend too. Many of them don't receive enough money to eat a healthy diet. Think about the amount of food a 300-pound lineman has to eat, or the fact that fruits and vegetables cost way more than French fries from McDonald's. Kristen King wrote in an interview of 2 college football players, for them, scholarship life has been more about bargain hunting than indulgence, even though they are athletes expected to perform like thoroughbreds. Blog.edu.ecu. These athletes talked about how it was hard to bargain shop for food that they needed to perform. If schools want to make money on how well these athletes are performing, shouldn't they pay them to get the proper nutrition? You can now see the struggles that these athletes undergo. Other than unfair for the student athletes, is the NCAA not paying athletes illegal? There are some legal issues arising from this argument. In a journal by Mark Edelman, this is explained. He states, Section 1 of the Sherman Antitrust Act states that every contract, combination, or conspiracy in restraint of trade or commerce is declared to be illegal, Edelman 7. What he's trying to say is that the agreements that NCAA makes to not pay the athletes could be a violation of antitrust laws. So how did the NCAA respond to this? Well, he says that they claim that if they do pay athletes, it'll destroy the competitive balance between sports. But with all the advertisements, bowl games, opportunities, there's a competitive balance between sports. He also explains that the NCAA says that if they pay athletes, it'll be a Title IX violation. But isn't it a Title IX violation that men's basketball coaches get paid twice the amount that women's basketball coaches do? So, after my presentation, I have hoped to persuade your thinking on the topic as to whether college athletes should be paid or not. College athletes deserve to be paid because they bring in a lot of money to their schools and to the NCAA. They have extreme financial need because they cannot work another job, and they need this money to get food to properly nutritioned. Also, it may even be considered illegal with violation of antitrust laws. So, again, we likely know an athlete like having classes with him, or you may even relate to the fact that you work and you go to school and you're trying to maintain good grades. So hopefully a compromise can eventually be made. Athletes work hard for themselves, but more importantly, they work hard for their schools, and they deserve to be compensated.